Hey guys, welcome back to another LitReview where I dumb down scientific journal articles to my level. So today the paper I'll be reviewing is titled Fluid Lavage of Open Wounds, Multicenter Blinded Factorial Pilot Trial Comparing Alternative Irrigating Solutions and Pressures in Patients with Open Fractures. I came across this literature when I was in this last month at Cedars-Sinai, and is considered one of the landmark articles, especially prevalent in the podiatry community. It basically talks about irrigation and what kind of solution we use when we're doing irrigation. So generally, irrigation is often accompanied by IND, basically taking away necrotic tissues, cleaning out the wound bed for the wound to heal properly or optimally. So irrigation, just by its own definition, it's basically having water kind of run through it and allowing, by the process of just water running through it, it kind of captures all the dead tissue along with it and cleans out the wound bed. But there's been a lot of different ways that a physician can irrigate a wound or the site open fracture or so. You could do a high pressure or a low pressure or a medium pressure, and you could also choose to irrigate with chlorhexidine, betadine, antibiotics, or some certain type of soap. So the purpose of the study was to basically evaluate that. What is the proper pressure that when you're irrigating, the water pressure? What is the proper solution that you should be irrigating to have the best outcome? So what they did was they did it's basically a multi-center prospective study of 9 centers across the world, like America, Canada, and India is included in this study, where they ultimately gained they evaluated 140 patients, and they got about 111 to evaluate. And what they did was they divided it into 4 different groups. As you can see chart over here, they chose to have soap in their irrigating saline or low and high pressure. So they had 4 different categories of patients they're looking at. Soap with low pressure, soap with high pressure, saline, just normal water basically with low pressure, and saline with high pressure. And they just want to see the outcome variables: reoperation rate, infection rate, non-union rate, and just the overall health, the function and quality of the patient. So in terms of the saline versus the normal saline, what they did to consider a soap solution was they used a 80 milliliter 17% cast iron soap solution. I looked it up. A cast iron soap is basically an olive oil based soap. Sometimes it includes sodium hydroxide. And they, depending on the severity of the fracture, open fracture, 1, 2, and 3, stage 1 based on Castillo-Anderson classification would require 3 liters. Stage 2 would require 6 liters, and stage 3, 9 liters of total irrigation. And then, the pressure would be low or high, and the low pressure they determined to be 6 to 10 psi, and high pressure about 25 to 30 psi. And they do disclose that the Stryker was able to provide some of the supplies, but they did say that they also stated that Stryker had no involvement in the project in terms of design, analysis, and data gathering. So the type of treatments that they were applying these irrigation were open fracture, generally Castillo-Anderson type 2 or 3A. And the result was kind of like, it's not something that you would expect. So what they found out was difference between a soap versus normal saline. In terms of the reoperation rate, they were kind of close to each other, 23% for soap, and 24% of the patient population had to go into a reoperation, whether to manage an infection, wound, or non-medium problems. But they also stated that, the authors stated that after they stratified the data based on the severity of the fracture type, they kind of said that the soap did offer a better outcome in terms of the reoperation rate. But one thing to note is soap also had a higher infection rate overall as a secondary outcome measures compared to the saline. And in terms of the pressure, they stated that there was ultimately no significant difference between a low or high pressure. They state that the author stated that the high pressure is often used to kind of mechanically debris away necrotic tissues, and he has that advantage, but also at the same time, it could cause tissue damage to the area. So that was basically the gist about this paper. The author go on to state that some of the limitations of the project is that it's not obviously it's 111 patients, so it's not that big of a sample. So the camera got cut off. Just to reiterate, there were two potential explanations for why soap may have caused a higher infection rate compared to normal saline. One is the rebound effect, where there's been previous studies showing that after cleaning the area with soap, the wound site may potentially have a rebound of bacterial growth after 48 hours. And the second explanation is that soap having this chemical content may cause erythema and potential like allergic kind of reaction to the area that can enhance bacterial growth, again, infection. So those are the two potential explanations why soap is kind of bad compared to normal saline. So as a physician, I think it's up to you to kind of take this literature and self-assess whether or not you want to treat patients with a high pressure or low pressure, or saline versus non-saline. Personally, what I would do is I would treat irrigate wound bed with normal saline and low pressure because to reduce the infection rate and also to minimize soft tissue injury from the high pressure potential irrigation. One thing that the paper did not mention that I think it may potentially be a disadvantage to low pressure is that low pressure irrigation is going to take a longer time to dispense 3, 6, or 9 liters of normal saline depending on the fracture classification. Having personally been in an irrigation process where we are disposing 3 liters of irrigation just through gravity assisted, it took a while. It took about like 15-25 minutes to get through 3 liters. So in a more complicated fracture, you could imagine it's going to take a lot longer, and then longer OR time can potentially cause adverse reactions to the patient or injury. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate every one of you watching my video. You guys can also leave a comment. So tune in for our next video, and as always, again, thank you for watching.